leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been golden when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. But feels not falling for the FOMO. Listening to coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
bit.
now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. Happy Friday. I'm Cap, no co-host today, but as always, open stage. If you'd like to join the conversation, throw in a request to come up on stage and join us, or drop your comments, questions in the chat down below. It is a Friday, so that means tomorrow we've got our newsletter coming out. If you haven't yet subscribed to that, head over to coffeewithcaptain.com. Hit the sub button, drop your email there. We don't spam you, just get one email a week with the weekly update, the week recap. And appreciate each and all of you, each and every one of you, especially Teacher Katie and Be Epic over in the abstract chat, as well as our legends in the YouTube chat, the early risers over there, Web3 Warhead, Osiris, Absolute Zero, and Vaughn Frunton. GM to all. Happy Friday. Markets are not quite as happy. We got Bitcoin testing 200-day moving average, closes below. Not great, bearish signal. We will see. Seems like there's going to be some, I don't know, geopolitical activity in the, I'm guessing after market or after markets close this afternoon, this evening. I really don't know, but cold open material, some more, since it is a Friday, it's a free for all open mic day. So if you don't want to talk about Iran or other geopolitical nonsense, I shouldn't call it nonsense, but feel free to change the conversation, change the topic. I'm down bad this morning because I bought the wrong shrimp. So I spent the last hour peeling and deveining. I thought it was already peeled and deveined. It was not. And so I had to do a little food prep for lunch today. Not really happy about it. Slightly tilted. Also seeing we got a new look on StreamYard today. Not sure if it's a new logo or just new color palette, but definitely looks a little different behind the scenes. We will see. Hopefully audio, we get a full show of a good audio today and get a little bit of feedback, but I don't think there's any, I don't think there's any echoing going on. I don't know why, like, just peel and devein all the shrimp. I'd gladly pay the extra $2 or $1 a pound or whatever it is. Don't make me do that work. It grosses me out, and now I don't want to eat said shrimp because I've seen the nasty stuff. Kind of also why I'm not a big fan of crab or lobster. I don't like working for my food. I just want to eat it. Anyways, other exciting, cool, non-crypto related stuff to take you into a better mindset and I apologize if I'm a little bearish. I've said this before, and I love the guys. I may just have to take another break from modern market because they get me in a bear mindset. It's all doom and gloom, and the world's coming to an end. Our markets were all going to zero. I kid, it's a little aggressive, but I am the delusional optimist. So I did just pin up top. Thanks for dropping it in the GM. Pretty incredible show from Diablito. We've shared it here before, but maybe a record yesterday, at least in terms of from pictures I've seen, records, and we got some video on this one. I'm going to flash it on the screen for those of you watching video. If you're not watching video, what are you doing? Head over to YouTube, hit that like, subscribe, join the Cool Kids Club over there. Counted 10 bald eagles on his ranch yesterday. I don't know what this one's eating here, a field mouse or something. Quick little video of a bald eagle. Not one, not two, not three, but 10 bald eagles all hanging out. I didn't realize this is a thing. I thought bald eagles were like a solo's not the right word, but I didn't realize they flew in packs, not the right word. What am I looking for? What do you call a gaggle of birds? Same thing with boils. Not into crawfish boils. No offense to those from Louisiana and Houston, the Bayou. Just not my thing. Way too much work for food. And also, I think the first crawfish boil I went to, they were like sucking brains out of the crawfish. And it's like, oh, could not be more disgusted. Ruined the entire boil for me. I think I might have eaten just the corn on the cob that they had it thrown in the boil. Anyways, back to cool stuff. 17 bald eagles he counted yesterday. What are a flock? A flock, I think, is the word I was looking for earlier. Not a gaggle, not a pack, but a flock. A flock, is that right? A flock of 17 bald eagles. I don't think I've ever seen that many bald eagles together on like National Geographic or on TV, let alone in my backyard. Not that this is my backyard, but appreciate Diablito sharing, and pretty cool stuff. Someday when I retire, I aspire to have a dog ranch, and preferably one with a bunch of bald eagles. 17, just incredible stuff. We do have the general in the chat says a thread in the eyes of GW. Time to refocus. This is too long for me to read, but he's talking about X premium X fixing the algo, X spaces. I think we at least solved some of the spaces audio issues this week, but it has been a little finicky. I saw He's not seeing the purple pill in the bottom right. If the chat's not there, may I suggest heading over to YouTube or Abstract. Tebow, my guy Tebow says Spaces is going to sunset by the end of the year. I hope that's not the case, but in case they do sunset Spaces for us, please go hit us with the like and subscribe over on YouTube so you're not left out. We would appreciate. We're grinding our way to 500 subs over there. True story. Payne has a bonus riding on subs. We got to get a lot more than 500. It's quite a stretch goal, but 341. We need 159 to go. 159. I think last time we talked about was 184. So we are grinding our way to 500 subs over there on YouTube, and appreciate everyone. If you've not yet hit that sub button, go do us a solid here. It's a Friday. It's a free for all. I see Cheeseless out there. Cheese, I don't know what we're going to get into today, but open mic day, and could get a little off the rails, especially as I'm a little salty for having to peel and devein some shrimp, which is not one of my favorite hobbies. But I digress. No one cares about how low will Bitcoin fall? I have no idea. But AI says a group of eagles is a convocation. This is where I really miss Steve. Steve, I see you out there. I love you, brother. This is I mean, you did a lot more for the show than just help me pronounce words like this, but convocation, is that it? Am I saying it right? Absolute zero. I've never heard this word before, but that's apparently what a group of eagles is called per AI. Says, yeah, I am soft when it comes to food. Probably has something to do. It's weird though, because I don't know if it's the Ohioan in me, because I convocation. I don't know. Convocations, they're saying convocation of eagles. Maybe AI needs to speak for me as well. But I grew up in the country, grass-fed cattle and chicken eggs and Amish near us, a squirrel and rabbit and deer. That said, even though I did that, I did not enjoy field dressing things. I don't know where the weak stomach comes from, but it is very, very real. Maybe it is an Ohio thing, maybe not. But yeah, I just like my food to be food. I don't like to see the guts and blood and veins and all that stuff. It kind of ruins it for me. Group of apes is a troop. Find your troop. Speaking of apes and troops, in real life might be coming back. First time I ever had sushi was at Ohio State. I was a sheltered young child. Believe it or not a lot of great sushi restaurants outside of Lancaster, Ohio. Yeah, Diablito is a good thread if you're like enjoying nature. We had a now I'm going to be wondering all day what like a group of animals is called, because it's a herd of deer, I believe is what the proper way to pronounce a group of deer is. But he's now showing off a herd of deer. Amish country is minutes away from me. I wasn't in like Amish country by the definition, but I had a lot of Amish near us. Actually, my grandfather was responsible for the start of the Amish flood into the small area. I grew up in Southeast Ohio. He sold his first farm, like 250 some acres, to the Amish. And then I think that was the first Amish that came into the area. And then several others followed to where it was a pretty big Amish community. And then coincidentally, ironically, I'm not even sure the right word here, where I'm living currently in Florida, did not know this until recently, also a large Amish concentration. I'll see if I can find a picture, because while where I grew up, it was horse and buggies. Like you had to be careful driving because you'd come around a curve and there'd be a buggy right there. Especially at night, they did have reflectors, but no lights. And unfortunately, a couple of tragic accidents as car accidents running into buggies. Anyways, was familiar with seeing horse and buggies on the road from the Amish, and not familiar. The Amish in Florida, they don't ride buggies. I mean, maybe they do. I've not seen a buggy in Florida. I've seen a lot of Amish recently. Any guesses what the Amish are riding / driving in Florida? If it's not a horse and buggy, what do you think they're rolling? Jesus, any guesses what the Amish might be riding in my neck of the woods now? Nope, no Winnebago, no RV, no Ferraris. I should know this. Like, good question. I think they're full-fledged Amish. I don't even know. I should know this. I don't know the actual definition of the two. What makes them different. Okay, so my, That's funny. Pretty sure these are Amish. Now, where I could be wrong is because what I'm about to share here in a minute of what I see them rolling around in is, yeah, that's Jesus talking. Can't hear X speakers on stream today. What in the world? I mean, I can hear you just fine. Let me double check everything on my end real quick. I think. Let's go check now. Check 1, check 2. Jesus.
Check.
You got him now, Paige. If this doesn't do it, I am going to rage because it was the random, and I should have known. I said StreamYard updated. I should have checked it then. It had been running pure and not swapping the mics, but for randomly, it decided not to change the speaker, so I could hear just fine. But it changed from the Rodecaster mic as the input to the to my MacBook mic, to which you wouldn't be able to hear Jesus because it's only in my cans. I think we're good now. It was on my end. No need to take a lap. But yeah, we're back now. I'm glad I went to you to ask. Oh my God, Dort gets it. Dort guessed it. I don't know, Dort, is this a thing in your neck? Do you have Amish in Miami area, in Fort Lauderdale, in southeast Florida? Are the Amish down there? Because I don't know how you guessed this. My understanding of the Amish I grew up around is that there was no electricity, no lights. No, they couldn't own any electricity, but they could like ride in someone else's car, but they couldn't own it themselves. I'm sure like many religions, there's like a spectrum, right? Like, I don't know this. I'm going to sound really ignorant here, but Mennonites might be like a subsect of Amish, or so yeah, he's seen a few in West Lauderdale. I'm curious. This might be, I might have some bonus points if anyone in the chat can actually guess this. Don't cheat if you're in the war room because Dort just nailed it. But any other guesses, Jesus? And I'll check the chat. Any guesses? I'm looking for a picture so I can prove this, proof of Amish and what they're rolling around in. But it is not an expensive car.
I mean,
it's not it's not a horse and buggy.
Okay, so it is a car.
Not exactly.
Oh.
I need to get a better picture because the one I have is not going to do it justice. Especially
I don't know, maybe like a side by side or something, or a golf cart.
You're getting close.
Maybe they're in a golf cart.
You're really warm.
What if they're in a golf cart? Because I know in Florida, a lot of communities have golf carts that look like cars. What if they're in a golf cart that looks like a wagon?
Think of like a side by side meets a golf cart.
So it's like a Polaris, like a.
They are rolling around.
Go-karts?
Kind of. They're rolling around in electric tricycles.
Electric tricycles? Get out of here.
I shouldn't laugh. Please don't take this wrong. I'm not making fun of anyone. If you're Amish, more power to you.
There should be no Amish in here unless they're Mennonite, because they should not be on X, first off, and they shouldn't have a cell phone.
True, unless they're listening to, they might be at a restaurant, someone else has no headphones in. It is like, this picture just doesn't even begin to do it justice, because like seeing one or two, and like I did take a picture. I felt guilty taking a picture. So again, I'm not making fun of someone else. I just found it very humorous. And what I need to get is a picture, not just because this is a picture of like two of them. It was like husband and wife. And I snapped, and they even had like, they had yellow vests on to be super safe. But this doesn't begin to do it justice. This is just like a regular trike here, and then his wife, and they had their yellow jackets on, their yellow vests on. But you'll see, I'm not even exaggerating, you'll see like 5, 10, 15 of these Amish. Like it looks like a biker gang out of like the Wild Wild West. It looks like it's Amish biker gang. That's what it looks like. You see 15 Amish rolling down the street in their electric tricycles, and I don't know. Am I weird for finding so much humor in this?
No, not at all. I mean, people are wild, man.
I guess good on them for, evolving is not the right word. I'm getting myself in trouble. I'm going to get canceled by the Amish community.
All Trust we get a lot wilder on my space sometimes.
Diablo says Mennonites use electricity and modern farm equipment. Don't know the specifics of Amish in Florida, but a crock and a cart would be good. I wonder if, because they're using electric tricycles, I wonder if they might be Mennonites. Because I too didn't think that I thought electricity was completely off limits, but I could be.
It's supposed to be.
So maybe they are Mennonites then. Then maybe it's not a flock of Amish, but it's rather a flock of it's a biker gang of Mennonites. And
trike gang of Mennonites. Electric at that. That's funny.
I have no desire to be Amish. I appreciate and enjoy my modern amenities, but part of me wants to do. Wasn't there a movie on this? Wasn't there this is like, I think it was like 10 years ago. It was probably more like 30 years ago. A movie with some, like the gist of the story is the guy goes and lives with Amish and converts to Amish. I don't know. This isn't not.
There's been reality shows on Rumspringa, where the girls leave and go to like Seattle and these towns, and they're like, they never knew half this stuff even existed, and they're like, fuck this, I'm not going back. Like, are you kidding me? They're like out partying and drinking and going in college campuses and on vacations, and they're like, no, never happening. And then they run out of money, and then they end up going back home because they realize it's not, not free.
Yeah. Mayhem saying Amish are less religious. I would have thought the other way around. I would have thought they were more religious than Mennonites.
But a lot of times I go to my mom's and I get an actual reality check. My mom lives maybe, if you don't know the roads, an hour away from me. I can get there in about 30 minutes. But she's in a very small town called Reliance, Tennessee. It's in the middle of the Cherokee National Forest. She has 16 acres. She has zero internet. She has satellite TV, but like being up there and being disconnected and being away from everything is so peaceful. So like when I do have enough of like, I just need to get away, I go to her house. She has a log cabin up there on top of the mountain. It's nothing but mountains in the distance. Her nearest neighbor, I think, is, I would say, a mile and a half away, something like that. You don't hear anything except nature.
I love it.
And it's like at times, like, yeah, I wish I could disconnect, but I know I have, like, always tell my youngest daughter, I'm like, when you turn 18 and go to college, I'm leaving and going to Alaska.
Dude,
I'm out.
What you just described is like where I grew up. Now, I wasn't like a mile and a half, but my closest neighbor was maybe a quarter miles away. I lived a few miles out of a very small town called Bremen, Ohio. It was a population like 1,500 people. And like we would ride in the summer, we'd ride our bikes several miles into town, spend all day at the pool, driving around town. No cell phone, no, not even a beeper at this time. And I vividly remember I could not wait to go to college and get away and like go to the city and actually be around people. And now I definitely took it for granted. I definitely took being in the nature like that. Like I grew up on 10 acres, but yet my grandpa, at least for the first part of my life, had the 256 acre farm on one side of us. On the other side, he had 88 acres. So it was like, I grew up in all the, like the woods and the hills, like incredible nature scene. And my dad, or stepdad rather, his family farm was on like 700 acres in the hills of West Virginia. And I took all that for granted as a kid. And now it's like, that's the dream. I've done the Mexican fisherman, where my full circle goal now is just forget all this big city stuff, this fast life. Just give me 100 acres and a dog farm. And then some of those now some of those bald eagles is the other the new addition. But Hizzy does add, many Amish use electricity for work, often operating machinery, power tools, and lights in their business or shop, where they generally avoid connecting to public utility lines at home to maintain separation from the world. Many districts permit independent power sources such as generators, batteries, or solar panels for economic productivity, safety, and competition. I will say this: they make good food, really good food, and good furniture. Like we had the home, my dad built the home I grew up in, and like he was an engineer by trade, built dams and watersheds for the USDC. Wait, it doesn't matter. And he, so over the course of a couple of years, he built this beautiful home. The cabinets in the house were made by Amish. They had great furniture, great food, and yes, Payne, good luck with this one. We just we unpack deep philosophies of the Amish, Mennonites, and maybe even I wasn't thinking Mormon. Understand the Church of Latter-day Saints of Mormon. I spent a lot of time in Utah. Have several Mormon friends, all incredible people. At least the ones I interacted with. It's a Friday, cheese. I'm debating how much trouble I get myself in. Steve's out of the room, so I feel like I can get back to being off the rails. It's so weird. He pops in. I'm like, I'm not going to talk about my.
Yeah, you got to be you got to be good.
What is that? Unpack that.
Yeah.
Like what? Steve's in the audience listening, and I don't. Well, like if he's
Steve
still there,
keep the show on track. Steve used to, he would snap people back in line, and I think now that he's not here, there's still a very large amount of structure. But yeah, you don't have Steve here to reel
me back in, even subconsciously reeling me in.
Yeah.
Circles, our buddy Circles might be. That's who I was. That is who I did not want to offend. Circles, I think, is an honorary Amish. I kid, he's not really Amish, but might live around some Amish as well.
Look at the comments. I dropped a picture. This is a view from my mom's house this last fall.
Oh man, that looks like my backyard. Almost to a T where I grew up. And like I said, I absolutely did not fully appreciate it as a kid. And this is especially in the fall, like Ohio, the Midwest in the fall, you start seeing the leaves change like this. Just absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to tell the story I thought about telling when I was referencing Utah in my Mormon friends. This is Steve wearing in my subconscious. I'm not going to go there. I have an incredible story to tell about some escapades in Salt Lake City area shortly after my divorce and went on that arc. I'll just leave it at that. But incredible stories that are not appropriate for X. But a lively bunch, a very lively bunch, despite them not drinking alcohol. They don't even drink like no Coke, no coffee, no caffeine. But
I got to get with the abstract team because, like, no knock to old Randy here, but like this chick just leaves her stream on repeat all day long. All she's doing is replaying different shows of hers that she's had.
And she's probably gonna get 67,000 XP this week.
And right now she still has about the same amount of viewers, 1,200, but it's just constantly on repeat.
Yeah, that's messed up.
To put people to her content. And I'm looking at it, and this was a post from 22 hours ago that she made this video. And it's been live ever since number one. So it takes away from the other active streamers that are actually producing live content.
Yeah, not great. Not great. I love our chat. Poet Babe and Be Epic. You nailed it. That's exactly. I didn't even give much of a description. That's exactly the movie I was thinking of. Witness with Harrison Ford. Great movie. I'm not sure if it still holds up. I also feel like I should disclaimer when I talk about a movies from like the 80s or 90s because society is just different, and you say, oh, it's a great movie, and then you watch it, it's like this is entirely inappropriate and would get someone canceled today. But yeah, Witness with Harrison Ford, good. Also, Shrinking with Harrison Ford is a current series I'm watching. Pretty good one. I enjoy it. It's lighter in nature and easy to kind of watch in the background. But yeah, Harrison Ford and Witness, great movie. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Great furniture, great food, and if you run into them in Florida, they might be rolling around on an electric tricycle. All that said, there is actually we extended the cold open today, but had to do our Amish and Mennonite friends justice. Market's just gross. We'll talk about it. We'll do a market update here in a bit. Pentagon announcing a final blow and giving them 10 extra days. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I expect it to be a volatile weekend. That is what I do anticipate. XRP is supposed to get approval for their ETF today. That'll get the XRP army out on the timeline. Final deadline for the last batch of XRP ETF approvals falls today. XRP was classified as a digital commodity on March 17th as part of that landmark SEC and CFTC ruling. The ruling was supposed to be the green light. Now the clock is up. We find out whether this XRP ETF gets across the finish line or not. Again, the 17th was when that report came out, classified it as a commodity. You would think then which is legal basis for the ETF approval. Cumulative XRP ETF inflows. Not sure if that's projections or what, but obviously Bitcoin ETF was dominated by institutional inflows from day one. XRP ETF not expected to have replicate the same dynamic. Approval today likely like a price spike. The question whether institutions follow, I don't know. That's where we're at in the markets. We're talking about XRP ETFs today. I did see a few. I mean, everything market is like, oh, it's all geopolitical, all high level stuff, and just not overly exciting. So if anyone has any art or any NFTs popping off, anything that is a little more fun to talk about, would be great.
What about Trump putting his name on the $100 bill?
Yeah, it just seems like why, and it's probably just going to upset half the country at least. I guess kind of, and Steve actually just shared this in the war room. I've seen a lot. This is the first time I've seen this exact post, but I have seen the Amish like XRP. I don't know why, but if this should be our Friday segment. What pair a token with a religion, and I think Diablito might have kicked it off with a slam dunk there. For whatever reason, I don't know why I can't explain it, but yeah, XRP does sound like an Amish token. Maybe it's because my mother beat me on that on the XRP trade. I've seen this sentiment a few times on Coinbase leaning so hard into prediction markets, sports betting, gambling. Average Joe's Crypto says, I've received 3 separate notifications about college basketball from Coinbase in the past hour alone. It's absurd that amidst arguably the worst collapse in trust in this industry's history. I think that's a little exaggerated. I disagree with that statement, but I continue. The largest American centralized exchange has completely pivoted to trying to get their customer base hooked on sports gambling so that they can extract even more exorbitant fees. At this point, it's undeniable that Coinbase is part of the industry's problem. I will be ending my Coinbase One subscription and moving my business to a new exchange. Any suggestions? And he shares the screenshot of Iowa and Nebraska tied 65-65 with 3 minutes to go. The market can't decide. Can you? Texas leads Purdue with 15 minutes left. The market is moving. 11 seed Texas trails Purdue.
It doesn't matter what exchange you go to, bro. They're all going to add prediction markets. They're all going to add stock trading. They're all going to, and the whole point of that is to onboard more and more people and reach different sectors. You may not even like crypto, but guess what? Here's you're going to walk into Bank of America and Coinbase do some partnership, and Like they're just going to attract more and more people. So I would just go in your notifications of Coinbase and turn off all those notifications that you're not interested in them.
Yeah, I mean that's one way to do it. I think this does show it's such a fine line, right? Like going to the everything app, especially or everything financial app, and like how far do you go versus what you could be the best in the world at. Prediction markets certainly, I don't think, is it Kalshi or Polymarket? I don't remember which one they partnered with. Joey or Jesus, do you remember? Is it Kalshi or who's powering the Coinbase? Who's powering their prediction market?
Don't know. Maybe Kalshi. I can find out for you real quick.
Yeah, the same.
I'm sure.
I got it. I just googled Kalshi.
Kalshi.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kalshi.
Yeah, Kalshi.
So it's not even a core product. They're just middling it. So I get having it. I can also understand the frustration here from a user. Again, I don't think it's the worst collapse in trust in industry's history. If that was the case, we would not be getting. We wouldn't have the Clarity Act at the goal line. We wouldn't have all this institutional adoption.
But rumors are that Coinbase is the one that's blocking the Clarity Act from passing.
Yep.
Everybody else is on par, and Coinbase is sticking that they want to be able to have people earn rewards by just holding USDC, and the banks don't want that.
Yep.
Nobody else wants it. And
I respect Coinbase for that. I think they should be pushing back there. I think we should be able to earn yield on stables. It's silly that we wouldn't. The only reason not to is bailing out big banks. Like, screw that.
That's the point in calling it a stable, right? I mean, it's
Kobe did respond to this and said, asked internally, apparently a small scale test that only went to a percentage of people that are actively making basketball predictions. They're going to dial it back. Cheers for the feedback. You should get OpenClaw to deal with your notifications. I have a 30 Duolingo streak without opening the app at all. I don't understand that, but he says, appreciate the response, but I've never made a prediction on Coinbase, let alone a basketball prediction. Not sure what's going on there. Regardless, I don't think the issue is notifications themselves, but that Coinbase thinks this is a suitable product to be offering to its customers. So Robinhood's doing the same, to your point. I think Kraken also has a prediction market angle. I don't know. Are we over-indexing on the quote-unquote everything app? Simultaneously, X just launched their X Money's coming. I saw some few people are getting their X card in the wild, which is like a debit/flex card. It's not even like a credit card, to my understanding. Back to the point of like the least worst collapse in trust in the industry history. If that was the case, we wouldn't be getting Fannie Mae to accept Bitcoin as collateral. So it's a little bit exaggeratory here. I am curious how you all net out. Is it good, bad, indifferent, worst thing ever that Coinbase and others are getting into the prediction market game? Hyperliquid, my favorite, my favorite DEX is also turning on. HIP4 is essentially prediction market, although building their own and keeping that liquidity there. I get it. Like I shared earlier, like I've become the prediction market I use almost exclusive now is Kalshi because I don't have to jump through any hoops. It's easy on the app. I may move some to Hyperliquid now because it's there. It's easy. I don't have to go to multiple apps. So I get it. I understand it from a business standpoint, but I also, from like a Coinbase standpoint here, I don't know if it makes sense because A, it's not even their product. They're just pushing business to Kalshi. And I'm sure average Joe's crypto isn't the only one they're turning off with this. I don't know as if just turning notifications off does anything. Joey, thoughts on this? Is Coinbase crazy for such a prediction market focus and push?
GM guys.
GM.
I came up because I was listening to you read this X post, and all I could hear was wah, wah. Like what are we doing? Really? Like if you don't care about prediction markets, just don't use prediction markets. I mean, I don't understand like writing such a dramatic crybaby post over the fact that Coinbase is adding prediction markets and is marketing it. Like if your whole point of Coinbase is just to buy and sell crypto, then just buy and sell crypto on Coinbase. Like no one's forcing you to use prediction markets. But to Jesus' point, like Coinbase is the number one consumer exchange, right? Like they are the most consumer friendly. They are the best UI and UX. They're, a legitimate quote unquote business because of their, how they've been set up in the US with, like, why would they not add prediction markets? Why would they not add stock trading? Why would they not add all of these different opportunities for you to utilize your crypto that is on their exchange? Like, that's just dumb if they didn't do it. And the fact that somebody felt the need to cry about it and say, I'm leaving because you promoted prediction markets to me because all you want to do is make more money off me, clearly has never run a business or owned a business and understands what generating revenue and money does for your business. Like I'm just so tired of people going on X and just crying for impressions when it's like completely unnecessary. Like if you don't want to do prediction markets, just don't do them.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
is it really killing your experience on Coinbase because they're marketing prediction markets? Like, come on.
Crypto.com partnered with Donald Trump. That's they're launching their prediction market through Crypto.com. I mean, like every exchange is going to have prediction markets.
Dude, because it's a monster market, especially in the US. Like huge. Like it's not even close how big it is in the US compared to the next biggest country. I think I remember when I looked this up the other day when we were having this conversation about Myriad and like why they chose like an exchange. Let's focus in Southeast Asia. I think the next biggest is China. And then after that, I think was Australia. Like US is by far the biggest market when it comes to predictions and sports betting. Like if you're trying to make money and get people to in this space and you're an exchange, why would you not offer that stuff? Like it's the same with like these exchanges that are starting to tokenize stocks and things like that. Like the amount of money that flows in TradFi, why would you not? Is he going to complain because they start marketing to him that he can now buy Apple and Amazon through his Coinbase account because they want to make fees on it? Like, come on.
I've got some thoughts. I think I understand where you're coming from. I also think I think if you zoom out and remove Coinbase from the conversation, you've got banks steering their customers to gambling. That I think we have potentially a real issue brewing where
gambling is the oldest. Isn't gambling?
But it used to be
prostitution are the two oldest.
Yes, but both used to be much more challenging to access. And I mean, I'm old enough to remember if you wanted to place a sports bet, you had to go to Vegas, or you had to have a bookie and gamble illegally, and then you could get an offshore account and go to use Bovada or something. But
gambling is the easiest way to, unfortunately, raise money. Like when I lived in Texas, the biggest argument was like, why are we not legalizing gambling in the state of Texas? You have all the Texas residents leaving, going north to Oklahoma to play in casinos. Then you have everybody down south leaving in Houston and San Antonio, leaving to go to Lake Charles in Louisiana. Then you have people in Southwest crossing the border into Mexico. And then you have people that are over in El Paso leaving and going to New Mexico to gamble. But the state of Texas won't legalize gambling. Mark Cuban literally sold the Dallas Mavericks to one of the largest casino owners in the world. And they want to take the site where the old Cowboy Stadium is and literally turn that into Vegas 2.0. And they're trying to get all these bills passed and all this stuff passed to make that happen because there's billions and billions of dollars in money sitting in Texas ready to jump into casinos. Like, I mean, it's going to happen. People are tired of going to Vegas. and it's ease
I
of
just don't see the
access.
I just don't see the problem here. Like if you don't want to gamble and you
I
don't
just
want
don't.
to
You're
just
valid.
don't do it.
Agreed. But I don't know, for some businesses, I don't know if it's worth the juice. Like Von Frenten adds, any company putting prediction markets in their product are doing so to gain more users, given the popularity of prediction markets. It's top of funnel, and that's fine. While I agree, at some point, like I'm not going to Coinbase because they have prediction markets. I'm not using Coinbase more because they have prediction markets. And if I didn't have access to a prediction market, and I want to get a prediction market, I want to start using a prediction market, I'm probably just going to Kalshi. Maybe that's just me thinking. I just don't know.
Yeah, but you're like a regular user in this space that understands all of the different platforms. Somebody who's not like a Web3 native, who lives and breathes the space and only uses Coinbase to, let's say, DCA their Bitcoin like I do, and all of a sudden jumps on Coinbase and goes, "Oh wow, I can actually use like my crypto to mess around with like prediction markets. Huh, that's something cool and new. Maybe I should do that." Like we have to talk about who Coinbase is I'm assuming targeting with this. It's not us here, right? Like they're trying to, Von Frenten's point, target users that probably aren't using prediction markets, aren't using Kalshi and Polymarket and Myriad, and trying to get them to use it through their platform.
Yeah, which doesn't sound great. So they're getting the people who got a Coinbase account to buy some Bitcoin or buy some stocks, and now they are gambling their money away.
Yeah, so I just looked it up through ChatGPT. Coinbase has Kalshi. Crypto.com, they're still building it out, but they are building a structured Kalshi style regulated markets, also in partnership with Donald Trump. Kraken, it's not fully live yet. It's in beta testing, but they're building plus acquiring infra. So they have their own prediction market coming. Mexi direct integration, that's coming, but it hasn't been announced with what partner. BitGo, they are also building one. Then you have Polymarket and Wall Street, but
Myriad with BNB.
Myriad with BNB. Robinhood is building their own as well. And I think I already mentioned Kraken. So like every exchange is going to, dude, I just looked on my Coinbase. I had 48 notifications. I don't even pay attention to that shit.
That's wild.
I don't even look. Somebody could have sent me some money and I don't even, well, there's no money there, but you know what I mean.
Drew, GM, welcome to the stage. Thoughts on Coinbase and all these centralized exchanges getting into the prediction market game?
I think the children right now, or the kids, I'll say, that are like 10 to, let's say, 17, are going to have the worst gambling addictions ever. Like this is going to be like an epidemic of like kids growing up, and you know why no one wants to work a 9 to 5 because they can just gamble. And you see every single influencer putting a little gambling ad with stake and everything at the end, and you know thinking they can just make $1,000 overnight. And they don't understand that, you know, all of that's really rigged in the videos. But I mean, it's funny. The part with the post that I agree is actually Coinbase has lasted this. I mean, Robinhood has had this for forever. Everyone else has had this for forever. They push notifications. They do all this, right? I don't understand why any exchange or any kind of app like this would singularly, especially when they own the market, stay in that market and not evolve outside of it. I think the only difference, and I do find this annoying with Coinbase, is like I'm not and never going to use Coinbase for prediction markets. So I don't want to get notifications. The last time I checked, there is no way to turn off those notifications. Robinhood has a way where you can turn it off if you're not interested. I think that is my biggest foil with it. And I mean, prediction markets are hot right now. Are they going to stay around and have this hype forever? No. But I mean, if you've driven into any major city, Atlanta, New York City, Seattle, San Fran, anything in the past, I don't know, 6 months. I mean, the billboards on the side of the highways, like every single one is a fucking prediction market or online gambling. Like it is actually insane how in your face it is versus, you know, it just being like a quote unquote consumer product.
Yeah. I think it was Dobbins said, basically yes, billboards agreed. And then, every other commercial on Prime is for Kalshi. We saw this before. We saw this something very similar when DFS started taking off. Although I would say, I think that while to me, it seemed like every commercial or every other commercial was a FanDuel or DraftKings commercial. It was mostly during sporting events, which would make sense. And I primarily only consume sports in terms of live TV, as far as live TV goes. It feels, I'd love to know like what their marketing spend has actually been, because it feels like Kalshi and Polymarket both are spending even more than DraftKings and FanDuel were at their peak competitive ad spend era. But I agree with Drew. Like, again, I'm about as degenerate as they come. I think I said, I don't remember what I was, some comment back to someone on, it was because DraftKings introduced this. You could bet on balls and strikes, but instead of real time, it's replays. It's historical games, historical at bats, and they anonymize the pitcher, anonymize the batter, and you're betting ball, strike, or in play. And I was like, man, I'm probably a 99 out of 100 on the degen scale, and this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, who's betting on this? And it does feel, and a part of it's like, this is all still a gray area. Like, there's lawsuits right now that, I mean, these prediction markets, it's gambling. Like, it's sports gambling. It's just, they're calling it something different. And I know it's semantics, but Diablito adds, nobody's going to have a 9 to 5 with AI and robotics anyways. All the humans are going to be left for gambling. Yeah, we're going to be on UBI, and we'll be trying to turn our $200 a month of UBI into 200K by way of prediction markets. Joey, go ahead and get back in here.
Yeah, before I mention my thing, and you're talking about how much of a degen you are, I get stuff on my Instagram sometimes of people, and you could bet on how many cars will pass through an intersection in an allotted period of time. Like, I watched a guy on Instagram upload a video.
CCTV, bro. Every casino has it. It's pre-recorded.
It's fucking crazy. Like, you're betting on over under 15 cars passing through this intersection. Listen, gambling's never going away. We will find the dumbest shit. Remember what was it 2 years ago when that hamster, was it the hamster racing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Like, got really popular, and someone launched a pump fund, and the coin went up to $1 billion or some stupid shit like that. Maybe it wasn't that high, but we will find something to gamble on forever. And for those that don't know, Predict It, which was the preceding platform to Kalshi and Polymarket, launched in November of 2014. So this idea of and it was all political prediction stuff, right? Who's going to win the governor? Who's going to, I remember going to Disney with a group of friends. There was 8 of us. And I'm talking to my friend. I'm like, what are you doing on your phone? He's like, I'm literally predicting who's going to win the mayoral race in Naperville, Illinois. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you can buy and sell shares of who's going to win all these different. And I'm like, what? Seriously? So this idea that it's never going to go away. It's people are going to find something to bet on regardless. So as a platform, if you are a platform that operates with flow of money, why would you not add these things? And maybe it doesn't become your core product, and maybe it doesn't need to become your core product. But if there's a chance, and I don't know the partnership with Kalshi, so I don't know how Coinbase makes money by funneling people to Kalshi, but if you were a platform that was building your own prediction market, why not? Why not generate more revenue? Why not generate more fees? And so maybe it doesn't become your core product, but if it's there,
I guess one
I just don't understand why not.
One counter would be, specifically talking, Coinbase and Kalshi, or Coinbase and Polymarket, or Robinhood and Kalshi, or Robinhood and Polymarket, is as you talk about these centralized exchanges adding prediction markets because it's all they want to drive incremental revenue. Well, you could play this out like they're just propping up a future competitor. Who's to say that? I mean, Polymarket and Kalshi, they're in the Bitcoin game already. Like you can trade Bitcoin markets on both of them. Who's not to say, fast forward a few years and Polymarket and Kalshi both have, you can go buy stocks on them. They become a bank. You can trade crypto. Like that's one thing I'm kind of surprised to see. It's like, why didn't all the big sports books just embed daily fantasy sports? Why didn't they just bring DraftKings and or FanDuel into their suite as white labeled or private labeled offering? Well, they I'm imagining that at some point in the future, it's likely that DraftKings would start getting into the sports betting business, and they didn't want to just drive users and volume and fees to their competitors. So part of me, I am a little surprised to see, like, what is it? Is it really helping Coinbase? Is it really helping Robinhood to have? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I have not seen any of this data. I'm guessing we probably will get. I mean, there's publicly traded companies, so I'm guessing we'll have some specifics. But I don't think it's quite the no-brainer that, to Joey's stance. Just like I also don't think it's quite as big of a deal as average Joe's crypto was making out, like, oh, this is awful for the Coinbase experience. As Drew mentioned, you can't easily turn off notifications, but you could go into, at least in the iOS app, and just turn off all notifications, I would think. Shallow, I see you join us. We also got Von Frunton, Stage 11 Legends here on a Friday. Love to see it. Shallow and GM.
So a couple of thoughts, right? First off, the sports betting is actually regulated, right? In industry. So they're not actually able to compete with these things. And they're trying to introduce prediction markets in their ecosystem in a way that's not governed by the SEC, right? The prediction markets are governed by the CFTC. And the reason why everything is happening the way it is today is because of the current administration. So what we're really talking about is understanding who's regulating, who's monitoring, and who's allowing basically these pipelines to come in to drive the volume, because it allows them, and then we won't get too much into the politics of it, but it's just basically allowing everyone to inside trade in a way that they've never been able to. So what you're really doing is creating a distribution network and allowing this utility for people to basically prop bet on almost anything and not have any form of regulation, any form of like legislation that's happening. And if it does, and to be fair, there are several states, right? I actually have an article about this and I have more coming, that like are in Arizona, right? Where they actually are creating, lawsuits that are doing a cease and desist, that they're not allowing their states to participate in these prediction markets because of the opportunity that it basically, because there's a lack of legislation, that it basically ruins the potential like culture and the people in terms of like the direction of where this stuff is headed. Because, to Drew's point, it's like, we're impacting our children, we're impacting the youth, because let's be very honest, the reason why Kalshi is so much more popular than Polymarket is literally the fact that they've gone into colleges and told 18-year-olds that this is the future of how you can make fast money.
Yep. And well, I said I'm as pretty far on the degen scale as you can get. I'm sure there's others that are more degenerate than myself, but if you compare me to most normies, I'm uber degenerate. I also believe that it should be regulated to a degree. Like kids, like 13, 14, 15, and I know there's KYC, maybe. Like it's a very much so a gray area. To your point, there's already state level suits trying to get them to call it what it is. I'll quote Steve again in the war room. Says prediction markets are about to hit a ton of regulation and hurdles. In his opinion, legal gambling companies pay millions to congressional candidates and jump through hoops. And those companies have just legalized gambling. Like you can't even place a bet on my betting app in other states because each state has an exclusive deal with its own betting app. And this is the other thing. It's like, not only is it a gray area, there's casinos, traditional sports books, the DraftKings and FanDuels of the world have paid millions, if not billions of dollars in lobbying to get to where they already are. What's that?
Cumulatively, it's in the billions.
Billions, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I would have. But I'm seeing a tweet right here from DGN News, not even an hour ago, where ICE announces they are putting another $600 million investment in Polymarket. So, like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I just want to add too, though, it's not just that this is all happening in this fashion, this way, because it's technically the Wild West, especially when you have one person managing and governing this at the CFTC. It's really the fact that when you do these things in this fashion, it's like, how do you manage the proliferation of all this stuff that's going on? Because again, everything is driven by insider trading. And how do we change the effect of the landscape where all of this is being basically legalized insider trading? You know what I mean? Because the level of transparency that is happening, and you're seeing it affect the market, not just sports, but you're seeing it in the political realm, you're seeing it in the commodity space, you're seeing, I mean, these are all the cumulative things that we've been talking about in the past couple of weeks.
Yep. Von Frutton, go and get in here. I've got some additional thoughts on that, but I know Von Frutton's got a heart out. GM, pleasure to see you on stage, sir. Happy Friday.
GM, everybody. Yeah, so not actually going to talk legal stuff, surprisingly, though I do agree with Shallon's take, Steve's take. We're in the early innings on this. Also agree having a high schooler as my oldest son. There's definitely, he's not into it, but his friends talk about gambling all the time. So I agree with that. The reason I came up was like, there's the conversation like, hey, why is Coinbase driving volume to Kalshi? What's in it for them? Like Coinbase and all of these companies, right? Like if you look at how Coinbase is set up right now with Kalshi and all the crypto stuff, I mean, it's kind of like a casino. I can go there, I can make money, and then I immediately have a spot to spend it. Just like if I go to any casino, I can go to the tables, I can make money, and then there is a gigantic mall surrounding the casino with Louis Vuitton and high price stores that I can go spend my money, so the casino always gets it, right? And the stores that rent space there pay the casino for the opportunity to be the store in the mall surrounded by people who just want a bunch of money who are looking to spend it. That's like Kalshi is the store in the mall right now. And if I'm Coinbase, I think Coinbase's issue on this case is they need to decide what they want to be when they grow up. Because we talked about everything happening in DC, they're trying to be a bank. They are trying to be the future financial rails of on-chain and have Base be the underlying layer and all that stuff. They want to be in the big boys with JP Morgan, Bank of America, and all of them. At the same time, we're all getting, notifications of betting on the Houston, Illinois game. So in part, I'm guessing they didn't build their own because this is probably an experiment or a pilot. And maybe they'll end the relationship with Kalshi if it would, for whatever reason, doesn't work out. Or they have a branding issue of like, they're trying to be taken seriously. They're also trying to ride the wave. And I don't think you're going to be able to successfully do both.
Or it gets regulated out. That's the other thing you talk about. Like maybe this phase one is like, hey, is this going to stick? Do we need to do this before they put all their own internal resources into building out their own platform? Because Shallon hit on earlier, like, a lot of this is being driven by the current administration. What happens if that changes? What happens if Dems get in power and they say this is all illegal? We're putting it into it. Kalshi and Polymarket certainly can't can't meet their current valuations. What does that do in that hypothetical scenario? Do we see? Does Coinbase just kill the product then? Do you see like Coinbase, Robinhoods of the world, do they even fight back? Or they're just like, okay, we're out of that game? I don't know. I'm guessing they'd probably, at this point, because they're not that deep, they're just middling someone else's platform. I'm guessing they just, if regulation gets hard, if it becomes quote unquote illegal, I guess they just unwind it entirely. Thoughts on that? Do you think they would fight it? Shallon, Jesus, any Drew, and do you think
they would fight it all day? I mean, you got to think about how much money everyone is making from a political perspective, right? With insider trading on all these platforms. They want to make sure they can still do that. The donations from these prediction platforms to political stuff is through the roof. I mean, they're literally making millions and millions and millions of dollars of revenue. I mean, they would kick this can so far down the road and fight it all day. because of what damn, did you drop? Because what Von Front was just saying, or sorry, not Von Front, Shaolin was just saying with the different categories, right? And then, but then you do have the gambling businesses that will side with the folks that are going to go against it. But I mean, I think this is something where it's just like crypto, it's just like everything else. It's gotten so popular so fast that law and politics are so far behind, and now you have like a conglomerate, right? Where everyone's really worried about social media. Google split into Alphabet, two different companies, and making all these big companies split in. But now they're in the same scenario, just from not a tech company, but from a company that has to actually do with financials and other things. But it's tough when it's tough when you have the people that are making the law using it and making money off it. I mean, how do you fight against that?
It's gonna be interesting, man. And it's so weird for me because I'm not for big government. I'm a free market ambassador, and let the people, it's their money. If they want to gamble their money, let them do what they want, as long as they're not harming other people. If someone wants to do hard drugs in their own home and they're not hurting society, like, that's their life. That said, from a business standpoint, I question maybe, just maybe, Coinbase or Robinhood should be zagging when everyone else is zigging, or they should be, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say there. When everyone is chasing the same thing, it's seemingly anyone in crypto, anyone in the exchange market is going after prediction markets. Is there, and this is a bad comparison, this isn't the greatest analogy, liking it to NFT trading and elimination of royalties, and blur farming took off, and incentivized bidding took off, and no royalties, and every other marketplace, wasn't just OpenSea, they all followed suit. It was a race to the bottom. I think, reflecting in hindsight, I think had any of them stood firm and not tried to play that same game, not tried to the same race to bottom, I think they could have. Maybe it might have played out differently. Maybe not. Maybe they. But I don't know as if that whole race. I don't know if it helped any of them in hindsight. Probably diluted some of their fees. Certainly diluted royalties, if not eliminated them. And now we're back to full circle. So yeah, it's kind of like, this is probably a better analogy, is Apple. Like, if you've been a listener to the show, you've seen me or heard me do a 180 on Apple. I was like, how is Apple getting embarrassed in the AI race? And now I've done a full 180, and I think Apple might be playing the AI race, this AI arms race, the smartest. They chose not to go hard after infrastructure and build out their own model and spend the billions of dollars in trying to keep up with the behemoths that are in that space, and rather stay behind the scenes, focus on what they're the best in the world at in terms of really good hardware that just works and has a very seamless user interface. And now not only are they're opening up. This is actually news this week. I'll go find an article. We'll continue the prediction market conversation, but remind me to come back to this Apple news, because it's really, really, really big news in my opinion. I haven't seen many people talking about it, but Apple's basically saying, hey, you can use whatever you want with AI. Siri can be powered by Claude. You can be powered by ChatGPT. Whatever you want to use, whatever your preferred model is, you can use it. Apple has the distribution. They have first-in-class hardware. I know you can talk about Android or Samsung as much as you want, Joey, but Apple's hardware is just there's a reason they have a cult following, and they have a great mousetrap. And oh, by the way, just as they're charging 30% tax on all the App Store stuff today, you don't think that's coming on in the AI race? When everyone's using Siri as their AI and they've chosen which model they want to use, they're probably going to turn on that same 30% fee kicker, if not something similar. via Siri, and we're just going to use it because it just works. It's baked into everything we use. And Apple looked like they were losing that game, looked like they were losing the AI race, to where now I think they're winning by not burning billions of dollars, and instead they're just going to pay, have a fee share, have a rev share. Even if they're paying, at one point, they're going to look like they're going to be paying Google $1 billion a year to use Gemini, far less than what it would cost to build out their own. And I think that there could be something here trying to pull this back to prediction markets, that just because everyone else is doing it, I get the logic in like, oh, we should do this as well. This is low hanging fruit. This is table stakes. We need to offer this because everyone else is offering this. You could use the same but different argument and say, because everyone else is offering this, we shouldn't chase that. It's not our core business. It's not something we're going to be the best in the world at. And it's just a distraction, and at least turning off at least one customer in average Joe's crypto. But thoughts on that, gang? We'll go around the horn here, get your thoughts on this. And then I'm going to go refill the coffee. I'm not going to do a coffee break though. So Joey or Jesus, if one of you doesn't mind keeping the mic going, if we get around the horn before I get back. But yeah, Joey, go ahead. Thoughts on this, and then take it to whoever you'd like to go to next.
I don't know if it was Drew or somebody was talking about, like, our kids or people having access to gambling, and like, I kind of, maybe it's not the direct correlation, but we talk about like the legalization of like marijuana, right? Gambling was happening regardless of whether we had, Kalshi, Polymarket, DraftKings, right? Like it was happening regardless. Whether, to your point, Cap, you were having to drive to a sports book or a casino or some OTB location, or you were doing it illegally through, an offshore website or a bookie. So I feel like this is same conversation we have with the legalization of marijuana and why it's happening. It's an opportunity. And not that I'm a fan of like more taxes and more government regulation, because I'm not, but when you look at like the opportunity for what this money, and if it's used the right way, again, you were talking about a lot of money that was being spent / avoided taxes and all that stuff with illegal gambling. So do I think that marijuana should be legal in all 50 states at a government level? Yes, because I think there's an opportunity for, number one, safety, and number two, it's another source of income and revenue for individuals as well as the government. And that's why we're seeing the adoption of gambling across so many states, whether it's through apps like Barstool or, DraftKings. When stuff gets so big that the government is like, wow, we're missing out on all this money, they're going to allow it to happen. So like, the idea that like now, because it's more accessible, more people are going to be addicted to gambling, I think is not a fair argument, because it existed before. It just wasn't regulated or legal.
Maybe. I just like play this out. Play
up in states where marijuana is legal now.
Yeah, I guess play it out, and a couple of years you come home and you find that one of your kids just gambled away $5,000 in Roblox because you had a credit card connected for Robux or whatever they're called, and they got into some slot machine there, not realizing it was real money. Like we're if this continues the current trend, I do have some concern that it's too easy. It's just like, yeah, cannabis is legal, but you can't just, even in a recreational state, you still have to be of age. And yes, I guess all these platforms, they are KYC'd apparently. It's just, we're getting to a point where it becomes, and it's not just kids, I guess is the other thing. It's like, it's not just kids, because that's the thing too. It's like, oh, you got to be over 18. Well, the ones that are probably at the most risk here, it's not the 13-year-old or 12-year-old. It's like the 18 to 22-year-old. They legally can do this, and they're the ones who.
You're telling me at 19, if you wanted to gamble, you couldn't have found a way to gamble?
I did
at 19.
I did, but it wasn't nearly as easy. And I had a friend that ran up $100,000 of credit card debt when he was in college. He got a gambling addiction. Like, that's not great. And that was when it was hard. So now it's like you 100x that in terms of the ease of access. It's just, it's way different already. And the path it's heading down, it shouldn't be that. Like, I'm pro cannabis. I don't think you should just be able to walk into a Wawa and buy a pre-roll. You shouldn't. Like, kids, like, it just.
Why? If you could walk into a Wawa right now and buy alcohol or cigarettes, what's the difference between walking in and buying cannabis?
Well,
I mean, more people die from.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
like,
I also don't know as if you should be able to walk into Wawa and buy booze either. But my point is, you can't do that without getting carded. You at least have to be 21 to buy that alcohol. And my point, my example was like a 14-year-old should be able to walk in and buy a pre-roll. Now, if it's locked up and you gotta verify ID, yeah, I agree with you. It's better, it's healthier, it's less toxic. And
I mean, how many platforms are there that 14-year-olds are able to? I mean, again, maybe I'm naive, right? But I would imagine Polymarket and Kalshi and Coinbase and all these platforms probably have pretty strict requirements to allow someone to open an account to start gambling so they don't get themselves into lawsuits and legal trouble. I mean, I can't imagine a 14-year-old is opening up an account on Kalshi and gambling his parents' life savings away.
Yeah,
but they totally are though, and it's super easy to also use agentic agents to do this now.
Correct.
And especially when you have your parents' credit card, or you can just go to the store and buy a prepaid Visa gift card and go on there and do it. I mean, there's so many ways, and like a lot of this also does stem from Fortnite and Roblox, where they have dopamine hits where it's all based on chance. And then they get the realization, oh shit, I can actually do this with money. And then it's all just downhill from there. It happens every single day.
Is there any difference of parents that are heavily into TCG and like collecting cards and they're ripping packs with their kids, whether it's online or IRL, and they're going to the store every week and taking $100 out of their paycheck, and like that's a gamble as well. I mean, you can look at it in so many different ways. So, it's just a matter of what you want to do.
So a couple of thoughts on this. Sorry to interject. This is one of those things I think, again, we have to understand really what it is distribution, right? And what I mean by that is specifically, you can go to any publishing, right? When you look at how Myriad Markets implemented it, was they went to every single one of their portals and their distribution network and applied, Myriad Markets, right? You're starting to see this in Polymarket. You're starting to see this all being done across every form of media, every form of distribution, both analog and digital, right? You're talking about billboards and things like that. You're talking about access, again, where they're taking their $1 billion war chest that they just, went to and they, raised, and they're using it in marketing. And they're going directly to the colleges. They're going on campus. They're supporting and sponsoring events. They're pretty much at the same time when you were like, going to your, local freshman orientation, and they were like presenting you credit cards, right? They're now doing that with Kalshi. So when we talk about this is truly the Wild West because it's gone on so much more faster in terms of the absorption rate and the ability to monitor and regulate to an area where it's a complete Wild West, and that they're just doing this ad nauseum, right? Because again, if you're around kids, you're starting to see this infiltrate every single part of their lives. I think, again, that's not a good or bad thing, but it does need to be something that is discussed, that needs to be somewhat regulated, because the reality is anyone who has a wallet, do you not let your kids have access to your computers? Do you not let them access to your wallets? Do you not let them do things? And maybe you don't, but a lot of them do. And who to say that they don't do this behind your back? So they want to
But
keep up.
aren't there regulations, Chellen? Aren't there regulations when it comes to marketing on where you can do this stuff, right? Like you're not going to open up rope. Like
you can go to any portal. You can go to any portal, and if someone wants to do this, they have access to it. Well, who's the regulator? Meta.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm pretty sure, like having worked in marketing, like you can't advertise Kalshi on Nickelodeon, right?
No.
Like there's rules, and maybe not all over the world, but I know in the U.S. when it comes to running ads, and you cannot run ads that for like in specific like channels and programming because of the demographics that are there, right? So like this idea of like, oh, my kid's going to be playing, Roblox, where I have the parental guidelines set to, let's say, under 13, he's not going to see an ad for Kalshi and Polymarket because legally they can't do that.
But they're not doing that on Nickelodeon. They're doing that on YouTube Kids. I mean, this is where these kids are at nowadays. They're watching reels on Instagram, whether it's a kid account or not. Though.
YouTube Kids. So you're telling me on YouTube Kids.
YouTube Kids, there are ads that should not have ads on there. There's a lawsuit active for it right now.
They even had younger influencers that they paid to do KOL campaigns, essentially targeting kids like that. That's
why do you think
happening.
Nickelodeon does Nickelodeon football for NFL now? They want the younger kids involved to make up for the difference for the older folks that are aging out.
I think this is like Drew and Shallon are kind of describing how I'm feeling about this. Well, because again, I'm pro freedoms and free markets and anti large restrictive over regulatory government. But it's if I remove my I like to do this stuff as an adult with my own money, disposable income. If I remove that hat and put on a hat of like your average parent, think about your average parent, and think about like half the people out there are below average. It's kind of concerning what the societal impact this could have, because while you may put age restrictions on your kid's Roblox account or what, it's getting to the point where it's infiltrating so much of society. And I don't know, as if, just like I don't think kids should be drinking alcohol or smoking weed, they also shouldn't be gambling. And I don't, and this is where it's like, okay, well, what age? Well, if you're 18, you can get drafted and die for your country. You should be able to gamble. Yeah, maybe, sure. But like something has to change. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's more financial literacy, maybe more financial education. I don't think you should have to be an accredited investor to invest in certain things. Just like I don't think you should have to pass a test to be able to bet on a prediction market. But there is some concerning things here, and I don't know the answer. I don't know the solution, and I also don't want it to be so overly regulated where I can't use Kalshi. Just like today, it's kind of an inconvenience. Like if I want to use another sports betting app, Hard Rock's the only thing I can use in Florida because of regulations. So I defer to Kalshi. Like I want things to be open and free. At the same time, it seems like we've went a little too far for something that is operating in a gray area. Like maybe I like it in this because I was so close to daily fantasy sports when it was going through its regulatory hurdles, and in how challenging it was for daily fantasy sports to get where it is today. And with prediction markets, it's like they're just throwing all the laws out the window. It's just like, go for it. Like build whatever you want. Anyone can play. And I just like, it seems to me like, I don't want to call it a house of cards. I agree. Polymarket, Kalshi, they're probably not going anywhere. But I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm waiting for some big thing to, I just don't know. Like, I don't know how this plays out, but I'm pretty sure status quo is not it. Back to the original conversation, is it wise that, and maybe Coinbase turns it on, but don't do so much of a push, because maybe there is like, it's again, you can say, they need to be responsible with their own money, but imagine 2 months from now, some story comes out where there was some kid who they worked their entire life. They're in college. They're paying for their own school. They had been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, and they bought some stocks, and they had built up a portfolio of $100,000 to where then they got these Coinbase notifications on March Madness, and the next thing you know, they got hooked on prediction markets, and not only did they burn through their 100 grand, but their 100K in debt. Like it's probably already happened. Not that exact story, but a story similar to it. And once that stuff starts hitting the press, once they start seeing that stuff in mainstream media, don't you think anyone that is not in the current administration is going to be using that as fodder to win their next election? And then when they do, like, I could see, just as crypto was a platform issue or item last presidential election, I think that's where we're heading. Like, and it's wild to think that I was in the camp that thought prediction markets would kind of like fizzle and fade after the last presidential election, to where not only did that not happen, there's a scenario where one of the key issues for the 2028 presidential election is, where do you stand on prediction markets? Is that crazy to think?
I mean, like, and it's not like we would necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, obviously, I don't like censorship, but if you look outside of the United States, I mean, the UK doesn't have this problem. Like, you got to be 16 to use social media, right? Like, you have to apply. There's censorship stuff. There's I think in certain places, that may be the case, but I think, again, this is just a newer industry where there's disruption. I think law and politics will come in, but I think this is the case where it's all evolving. I mean, think about it. Like, maybe all of us growing up, we were so stoked to turn 16 because you could get your permit. Where I think in 10 to 15 years, kids that turn 16 are not going to care about a driver's license because all the cars are going to be driverless. So what else do they have to look forward to? Like, it's just like a fundamental shift of just the world as it is, right? In maybe efficient and non-efficient manner as disruptions in several industries in the way that we grew up, or maybe we think it's fair or it's unfair.
Yeah, man, interesting thoughts. You got, like, I did not think that average Joe's crypto was going to take us down this path, and I'm not saying it's an existential crisis, but world is changing so fast. Someone else earlier mentioned, AI, the robots, UBI, and like, we're not gonna have any jobs left other than to gamble. Like, I'm not like a doomer. I'm not an AI doomer. It does make me a little uneasy. It's like you've tickled the part of my brain where it's like, man, it just doesn't feel good that it's so easy and it's everywhere. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when it comes to this stuff too, we have to also think about the impact that it has, not just on society, for our kids and the future of gambling, right? Because gambling, let's say, even if it is regulated, but the fact that now prediction markets, again, is influencing everything in terms of how we utilize data, it's actually informing how people are voting. It's informing people how they're like living their lives, but it's also impacting the way, governance, even just so much things that are happening, that it's impacting even financial markets. Can you imagine financial markets where prediction markets are then determining where commodities are? Because it's actually happening, if you think about it, right? If there's enough liquidity to go one way or the other, people are going to start trading based off of what they're starting to see on prediction markets. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of now putting like the cart before the horse. And it's kind of crazy to think about it, because there's so much insider trading that's possible, and the amount of influence and affluence that it could have on the way people actually manage their businesses, because now they have to factor in an external factor, is the prediction markets and how people perceive what they're doing and what they're not doing. It's kind of crazy to think about it, because this is along the same line of AI, right? It's happening a year later, the past year, but now you're going to start to see the overlap. And there's going to be that shift, that sea change that Drew's talking about, where everything that we talk about isn't necessarily about the impact and distribution of it, but the impact and distribution of the actual financial markets as a whole. It's almost kind of ground, shattering in terms of the level of disruption that it's going to have on our lives.
Yeah, I hope not. But I think real concern, and I say so because of this, right? Like, we got smart people talking like both sides. This is not a big deal. This is a really big deal. This could be catastrophic. I think just those thoughts alone, those are both in the range of outcomes, is probably land somewhere in the middle. But the fact that it could become such a quote unquote PR nightmare I think that warrants the question, like, maybe it's not wise for Coinbase to be leaning so hard into this area where it's, what do they stand to gain? Maybe gain some new customers, maybe keep some liquidity on their platform.
But it could be just as simple as that's the service agreement. They're like, as a partner, you have to do this amount of marketing that comes along with. Otherwise, we won't be able to uphold and support you as a partner.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. There probably was part of the deal was, oh, we're going to work with you. Here's your rates, but you got to send out 60 push notifications every month. Joey, go ahead and get back in here for a response, and we'll go to Cool Chick.
Yeah, I'll be real quick because I just got to the gym. But the like Instagram launched in 2010. Crazy to think it's like 16 years now, and only recently did they introduce Instagram teen accounts. So I think what we need to see from these companies is just better parental controls and better options, because like my kids really have no screen time. I mean, yes, they're younger, they're 5, 3, and 1, but they don't go on YouTube Kids, they don't go on any of that stuff because I don't trust the current parental controls and what's available. And maybe instead of saying like this, like saying like we need less access to prediction markets, it should be, hey, if you're gonna launch this product, put better rails in place so we can protect ourselves. Like, for example, you said, oh, what if the kid gets a hold of their parent's credit card and runs up $5,000? Well, there should be something in place where that kid cannot have access to their parent's credit card to run up $5,000, right? So I think we should push these companies, again, like Instagram with their teen accounts, and maybe it's, better. I know Roblox has been in the news a lot when it comes to like what the kids get access to when they join these different rooms and whatever. I've never been on it, so I don't know how it works, but maybe it's just building out better rails where you can protect your children when they're using these different apps and games and whatever, so they're not exposed to these things. Because I don't know why it took Instagram 16 years to launch teen accounts personally.
Yeah.
It's because they got sued. That's the only reason why. Like, even for Roblox, obviously I don't want to dive deep into that. It's some pretty dark stuff, but they have all the parental settings. They have all the parental things that a parent can do to block a kid from using a credit card or any of that. But then it's on the parent to understand, to set it up, know where to go and do all that. And they never do. They don't even care. Or it's only after the matter of when they get that $5,000 credit card bill and they don't do refunds, do they just take it away? They don't even lock it down. There's no education.
Yep.
So it's like, it's big corp, right? Only putting things in after they get sued, and then putting it there with no training, and putting it there because they have to, and because they have to, then the liability is off of them.
Yep.
It's the same stuff every time.
So that's maybe where we should push for regulations. Push for regulation with these companies where that there's kids under the age of 18 or under the age of 13 or whatever it is, and say, hey, listen, you cannot launch this game or you cannot launch this website without these specific rails in place to protect children. Because I would rather it happen there versus saying like, oh, prediction markets are too accessible. No, force them when they launch these different platforms and apps to put in these measures at launch time before children are allowed to access them.
Yeah, but then that screws with their launch numbers, daily active users. Like from a business perspective, they would never do that. And I mean, but believe it or not, right? And I do a lot of like help for a lot of the schools. While I'll go and talk to a bunch of the parents and like educate them on how they can do this. Instagram, after they implemented the teen accounts, has probably one of the best parental controls for a teen account out of any platform out there. Has one of the best. Now, obviously, with the parental controls, they're still getting data. They're still building that teen profile, right? Good old Zuck and Meta, shout out to the metaverse. But they have one of the best, and that only came after they had to pay that big, big, big fine. And again, this is only a problem here in the US. This is not a problem outside of the US.
So a couple things there, and then we'll get to Cool Chick. On the whole Facebook meta topic, and shout out to Hizzy for bringing. Yeah, just this past week, court ordered New Mexico ordered Meta to pay a $375 million settlement fine. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to impacted users or not, but basically because they jury found that Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, was liable for the way in which its platforms endangered children and exposed them to sexually explicit material in contact with sexual predators. They've been found guilty of like their addictive nature of their algorithm. Like, this is happening just for social media. And I'm not saying that's not bad, but you could easily say that gambling is worse than than becoming addicted to social media. So it's like, this is, I think, what again, the why not to go down this race is some of the future blowback that I think is probably likely to occur at some point. Cool Chick GM, thanks for joining us. Thoughts on this? I saw your comment on Kentucky and the Kentucky Derby, and to quote your comment, it was only 2 years ago that residents of Kentucky can bet on horses at the Kentucky Derby without being at the racetrack. Previously, up until 2 years ago, you could only do that if you went to the racetrack. But thoughts on this prediction market conversation?
The only thing that I hope it doesn't affect is the play of the game, which you can argue that gambling in general could affect the players, how they're going to play. As far as the Coinbase notifications, I'm not sure how it's done, but I get one Coinbase notification for every week or two. So there is a way to set it, but I apologize. I do not know how to do it, but I did it at one point. But other than that, I think that everything's a gamble, whether you're betting on sports, you're betting on crypto, or you're getting out in the car and driving down the road. I mean, that's just life is a gamble, kind of. If we educate our kids, and thank God, I never had this issue with my daughter. She just started getting into stocks, and she's actually done really good at it. But she never really was into that kind of thing. But we had always kind of taught her, what to do and not to do. But I'm thankful that she's not a big gambler. But yeah, that's pretty much the comment, and the Coinbase thing is all.
No, appreciate you sharing. And yeah, I think part of it is as parents, as adults, we have some responsibility to help educate our own children and at least help mitigate them from going down some of these concerning paths. Hans, we'll go back to Shallow in here in a sec. Then we'll get our daily market update in. Hans in the abstract chat says, funny how this whole decentralized space wants centralized control for the kids. Kids are a responsibility of the parent, not of the companies or the government, in his opinion. I agree. So yes, and I don't know as if it's worth it for Coinbase to be taking on this risk. I don't know as if they stand to gain. And there's clear challenges and potentially blowback they could get hit with, and as they're going down this path now. Shalom, go ahead.
So to her point, it actually has affected the game. So again, I just want to post it to the top. I can remove it if it's an issue, Cap. But my point is I've been doing the research, and when it actually talks about March Madness, right, it actually had 26 players that were actually indicted for basically point shaving or doing whatever. Because now not only can you do the spread, the results of the game, but you can do it on if you hit a certain number of rebounds and hit a certain number of yards. 26 players were indicted because they were basically propositioned because they were not kids who, this was life-changing money for them. You add $1,000, if you add, bucks to their incentives to what they do, it actually changes the outcome of the games themselves. This is affecting journalism. It's affecting, again, politics. It's affecting all these different things from prediction markets because of the amount of money that's being swung in one way or the other. And it's changing the dynamic of how we do these things. And the more it persists, you're going to only start seeing more of this. Because if there's enough dollars behind it, it changes the whole dynamic in general. And again, there's another point where I was mentioning my article, which is you have millions of dollars going into how reporting is done and perceived, based off of these things. And to be fair, I would keep it simple, right? I'm not against censorship. I mean, I'm not against these things, but my problem is when it's overreaching, right? And my point is like, how many people are betting on the words that are being said in the State of the Union? You know what I mean? It's just like basic things that are like changing the dynamic of how we interact because there's some type of incentive.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, talking about kids and creating gambling addicts is one thing. You also talk about impacting the integrity of the game. And when there is the ability to change the outcome, change the performance, change how these players are, what they're doing because they're getting paid to do things, that just, it's not great. And like you could say, has it always been a thing? Maybe. I think now it's become much more likely. And like you mentioned, like 26 26 have been indicted. Like I would not be surprised if we see more and more of that because it's becoming, and I think that's kind of a snapshot into the concern of what the impact this can have on society. Is that's the obvious because they're playing the game, they're in control. I could see it. It's a slippery slope, I guess, is for lack of a better phrase, where this thing could head or where it could get out of control. And I don't know as if it's worth it for Coinbase and Robinhood. I understand the why behind it. I just don't know if it's worth it for them to play this game. Prediction market for kids. Joey's who's building this? This is what we need. Forget blocking them out. Let's just create the prediction market for kids. This is coming to Beezy next week. I kid, but let's do this. Let's get a quick market update in here, and then we'll be in our home stretch. Appreciate y'all being here today. Greatly enjoyed the conversation. Good Friday free for all, not getting too crazy after we got our Amish versus Mennonite conversation out of our heads. Thanks for bearing with Jesus and I as we analyzed the Amish and Mennonites, of which neither of us are experts.
This is not how I was anticipating Friday going. I thought we'd be unhinged and like off the rail conversation, and instead we're like up here talking about protecting kids and prediction markets and gambling.
We went the opposite direction. Instead of leaning into the unhinged, we're like, hey, hold on a second.
Let's be responsible.
We need to be responsible grown adults here and stop the gambling, stop the prediction markets. It's out of control.
I'm trying to get my daughter to shill my Zeke cards at school. What are you talking about, bro? Like,
yeah, I am. This is a weird one for me because I think there's logical cases on both sides of this, and I actually am kind of surprised we're not seeing more of it. Like I just saw, I mean, this is semi-related. Elizabeth Warren, did you see her most recent post?
Where she wanted to investigate someone or something,
Mr.
right?
Beast.
Some entity?
Yeah, she's going after Mr. Beast.
Yeah. For the because he bought a banking app or something, and now she's like wanting, like Mr. Beast doesn't owe her any explanation.
I have questions for Mr. Beast, says Senator Warren. Warren requests information from Mr. Beast about crypto and children, the world's most popular YouTube celebrity who markets to children and has bragged about his crypto trades, is getting into banking, and Senator Elizabeth Warren has concerns.
Ooh, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? But we're like, I think we're going to see more and more of this. And I wonder if, because of the full court press from Coinbase, Robinhood, and all the others, is if they're just exacerbating, they're just putting themselves in the, as a target and bringing more.
But why should they be a target? He's an entrepreneur. He can go buy any business or any app or anything he wants to do. Like,
well, I'm not saying he should. I'm saying we're seeing it. Like, she's already going after Mr. Beast because he's launching a bank and she's concerned. So there's a 50-50 chance, like he introduces prediction markets into his banking/crypto app. And
Yeah. As long as his shows are not on any of the predictions, there should be no problem there. And as long as he stays within federal regulations, banking guidelines, like what is it like? Why don't you just wait and see what he does before, I don't. She didn't care when he brought his damn candy bar into Walmart.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I agree. My point is, like, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that. Surprised we haven't seen more politicians use this as a platform issue and start going after, from Mr. Beast to Coinbases of the world, and using this because it's not that difficult to build the narrative around how bad this is for society. Even if you don't agree with it, it's kind of an easy narrative to spin up and get people really worked up about. And I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more of it. And I do expect as we head into like midterm election season, I think we will see more and more. That said, I know the market is gross. I've put it off as long as I could. Don't hold today's market against Awaken Tax. It's not their fault, but they will give you $50 off on your tax prep software over at awaken.tax. Head to awaken.tax, use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50 off your subscription.
It's marked update time. Let's set the play. Powered by Awaken, the smart tax way. From crypto flips to DeFi stacks. They keep it clean. Got your back. Grab your coffee. Let's break it down. Daily update. Right now.
We're going to fly through it because it's not too exciting, at least not unless you're short. If you were short, GG's, you had a good night, a good morning. We are down across the board. Things are bleeding out here this morning. Bitcoin down almost 5% to 66,496. ETH down almost 5% to lost 2K. It's down 1988. 1988 was a good year. Not a great ETH price though. XRP on that potentially ETF day also down 2.67%. Solana down 5.3% to $83. Doge down just 1%. Even Hyperliquid down on the day 2.86%. Just nothing. Let me sort by what's the biggest winner. Meme Core, go figure. The scam crime coin Meme Core up 10% on the day. Stable, Canton, Ondo. We only have 5 that are up over 2%, and then everything else is basically flat to down. Not great, Bob. Fear and Greed also down to 23. Will probably at this pace will be in extreme fear once again by Monday morning. And now that I said that, I'm going to go check the other Fear and Greed index for just overall investor sentiment. And yeah, 17, already extreme fear on that front. So buckle up. Going to be a volatile weekend. I have a feeling. Looking at NFTs, kind of the same story. It's a double down day, not in the good sense. We do have a couple of winners. Pixel Pups up again, 38% to 0.09. I hope everyone took the alpha earlier this week and went and grabbed your free Pixel Pup, especially in this market. You could use that extra $200. Which was $200 before ETH lost 2K. Pudgy Penguins down 1% to 4.05. Punks down 2% to 28.75. Apes down 1% to 5.18. Hypers down 0.1 to 407. Hype. Miladies down 4%, 4.9% to 1.16. Mutants down 1% to 0.75. Azuki down 0.5% to 0.68. Doodles down to 0.48. V-Friends up, the winner on a red day, up 2.4% to 1.3. Little Pudgies down 2.6 to 0.42. Normies up 12% to 0.06, and Pixel Pups up to 0.09, up 38%. The big winner on a very bloody day. Congrats to Simple Farmer and team over there. Moonbird's down to 0.9. Quirky's down to 1.11. And that's our daily market update brought to you by Awaken Tax. Head to awaken.tax. Use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50 off if you're a returning user. Add the return in front of that. If you're a new user, coffee50 will get you your savings there. And even if you're you already got your tax prep all taken care of, but you got that 1099 DA form from Coinbase or Kraken or any of these centralized exchanges, get some free support from Awaken on those 1099 DA forms. Again, awaken.tax. Tell them Cap sent you. Home stretch. We got 10 minutes left. I'm going to fly over a few items. If anyone wants to double tap on this, feel free to throw up a hand or jump in here, whether on stage or in the chat. Let's go to this one first. Speaking of, I mentioned Poppy there, or I mentioned Quirkies. I will give I'll give Poppy some love here. J-Bon screenshotted one of Poppy's posts recently. Said, I think one of the fundamental issues with NFTs right now is there's a very big divide between most founders and their collectors. The founders and owners that are closing that divide are getting results. I've been beating the alignment drum here on the show. Let's talk about the big divide, says J-Bond. NFT founders typically want their brand to do well. To some, that means branching onto Web 2 or outside NFTs. NFT holders want the price to go up, yes, but they also want to feel confident that they're seen and valued, which makes them feel as if the purchase of their NFT is worth it. In a lot of cases, NFT brands move to Web 2 without taking their Web 3 holders in mind. They just feel like the holders will automatically support them with this move for the brand, but it doesn't work that way anymore. And in these cases, NFTs just become an afterthought. I've noticed newer NFT collections almost always make sure that the NFT is at the core of embracing the strategy tokens and more, to having better communications, having direct line to the founders and teams. This is how they help bridge the gap of pushing for their brand to grow, while at the same time giving importance to their holders. The key is making NFTs the core of your brand, not an afterthought. I do agree for those NFT native brands, and I think it would behoove some to lean back into what made them great, what created such a vibrant community. One case in point is maybe, just maybe, Yuga starting to lean back into the club and what the club could bring. Figgy recently teased getting people together in May that might require some travel. This is from Bored Ape Gazette. I'll pin this up top here in a second. What you need to know. This was following, there was a big meetup in New York we talked about earlier this week. And Figgy hinting something bigger may be coming up. During Thursday's meet at the Clubhouse space, Figgy spoke about how much he and the team have loved seeing apes come together in real life, and teased that a larger event may be in the works for May. Part of the Bored Ape Yacht Club is you do club things, he said. I think we are starting to see a lot of the club stuff happens as of last night. There might be a lot more coming around the corner. There may be more stuff coming up in May. Where we may be, might be too early to talk about that, but we're trying to get a lot more people together in May, and it might require some travel. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that at future meet at the clubhouses. I will say I don't necessarily went on a rant, but I was providing some feedback to Yuga. I guess you could say I was critical regarding the over-indexing towards the other side, and just going, every update seemed to be for a while that it was other side or bust, and not fully understand the focus, the attention. I also would like to see it be an and, not an or. So not club or other side, rather both. And I think more of a club focus will feed other side users. I think that's the best top of funnel they have for now, is they're not ready to turn the marketing switch on and start bringing in the masses. But there's a lot of active people. Obviously, you see it in real life meetups, these live events. People love it. VFriends does an incredible job of this. Pudgy's had an event the same night of that a bunch of apes got together at Stefano's, the steakhouse in New York. I think this is a lighter lift, a much low. Now, does it cost money to do these events? Yeah, sure. But you also you get club members that will spearhead and help run point. We talked about Ape Wheel running doing a paintball meetup here in the Tampa area next month. Like this, fan the flames of these community events, bring the digital conversation and the digital relationships into the real world arena. And maybe nothing comes of it. Maybe it doesn't drive momentum, but I think it will. And I will say, specifically since I kind of called out the Yuga team, I'll give them credit, as I've been in DMs with leadership, reached out, said they listened to the whole show, appreciated the feedback. And I'm not saying that's why we're seeing this because we talked about it on Coffee with Captain, but I will say they heard us. And I hope we see more of it soon in the near future. It seems like we're going to see something in May. There's other community events already planned for April. And I think when you talk about the NFT native brands, the quote unquote clubs, And then you combine that with what we're seeing at Art Basel. This is from Art Blocks here. One of the Harvey Rayner is doing an algorithmic synthesia open to the public through Sunday. There's another one. It wasn't an Art Blocks, but another pretty cool exhibit at Art Basel. I think I'm not at Art Basel Hong Kong, obviously, but what I'm seeing on my timeline, and I know it's skewed, it's definitely skewed crypto, digital art heavy. It seems like digital art's having another moment at Art Basel Hong Kong, just like they had at Art Basel Miami. At Art Basel Miami, the 010, the digital art exhibit area was by far the most popular. It wasn't just Beeple. Yeah, Beeple and his pooping dog robots were kind of the talk of the town and drove a lot of attention, drove a lot of focus. It was that whole area was popping off. There was lines. It was by far, not even close, by far the busiest area at Art Basel Miami. And it seems, again, from my online perspective, what I'm getting fed here on X, that it's happening again in Hong Kong. And again, real life matters. Combining the physical and digital world isn't just taking an art piece and having a digital counterpart, but taking these digital relationships and making them real with these in real life meetups. I don't know how to best describe it, but there is absolutely something magical that can happen there. It drives home the value of a club. I mean, we saw, I think it was Edward. We saw earlier this week, someone had recently picked up a mutant and went to that meetup in New York at the steakhouse. And they said that in itself is worth the price of admission. The conversations, the connections, the relationships they were able to make, the networking they were able to do there, worth the price of admission for their mutant. Now, it makes it very much a active investment, something that you're going to get out of. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out. And I think that's okay. No one's expecting magic. I mean, I shouldn't say no one. I don't think people are expecting magical internet dollars to just drop out of the sky and airdrops and, these digital assets becoming, yield producing or dividend producing assets, but rather why should I buy this asset? Why should I hold this asset? And sure, if you're really into open digital worlds, like other side may be enough. Like, get your digital avatar, go play, go build in there. That's not everyone. And for those that aren't, like, why should I hold this asset? And we're now at a price, we're not talking $500,000. For a lot of these clubs, you're talking $1,000 to $2,000. It's very realistic dues or initiation fee, if you want to call it that, to get into this club. It's a lot easier to justify the cost of admission if there's actually a club to participate in. It doesn't have to be a clubhouse like Yuga is building. Will that help? I think so. But you can do it by way of these pop-up events, these community-led events. Like the regional clubs were very vibrant at one point for Yuga, starting to feel like they're making a little bit of comeback. And you can say, oh, the community can do it themselves. They can. It's just a lot more impactful when those flames are fanned by Yuga, by the leadership team, not just in helping fund these meetups and these events, but showing up, participating, like part of that networking. They'd like to hang out, meet with the team, as I think Jabon said in the post I shared earlier. Like, they want to be seen and valued, and all this stuff matters. That said, we good show today. Was not expecting to go where we did, but I'm glad we did, because just the stuff on the docket, the market related stuff, wasn't necessarily excited to talk about. Wasn't just not a lot of good stuff to talk about market related today. We did get our daily market update in, by the way. Again, if you haven't yet, go check out awaken.tax, use code coffee50. And while you're looking for things to check out here on the weekend, head to coffeewithcaptain.com and give us your email. Subscribe to that newsletter. It goes out just once a week. You get the recap of the week, any shows you missed. We'll also have a fun pool. And I did tease our community member of the month. We are going to do a community member of the month for March. We're just going to announce it on Monday. So most days we'll go Fridays, but we want to do a live giveaway to our recipient, and I just want to coordinate that, get them on stream if we can. And more coming soon on that, not just for March's Community Member of the Month, but also potentially kicking off some weekly fun event on Fridays. So stay tuned. Monday, you're definitely going to want to make sure you're a YouTube sub if you want to be in the running for March's Community Member of the Month. It also would help if you are a newsletter subscriber as well. And not putting any pressure on paying, but we have some new stuff coming as well in the chat environment. The War Room will continue to remain a gated chat. We're going to expand that Discord a little bit, making some slight changes there to make, for those that want to continue the conversation on over the weekend or between shows, provide a better place to do that. I will be checking out Rug Pull Bakery in Abstract. We might have a cooking with Captain segment if that's a hit. Appreciate the recommendation, Poet Babe. I also, Katie, I have 2 days in a row now. I've started my streak on upvoting. So now that I've upvoted, we'll see if I get more than 67 XP next week. I'm not going to hold my breath, but hopefully it turns out well. With that, it is a Friday. So if you're a baseball fan, enjoy opening weekend of baseball. If you're a basketball fan, enjoy March Madness. And if you're not a sports fan, go check out what I say earlier. If you want to go watch The Witness with Harrison Ford, maybe watch that. Let me know if it still holds up. But if you want to watch something more recent, might I suggest Shrinking, also with Harrison Ford, albeit he's a little bit older than when he filmed The Witness. With that, enjoy your Fridays. Go touch some grass. I love to say the worst it's over, but I sense the volatility is just going to continue to be even more volatile. I expect something to drop this afternoon between 4:30 and 5:30 as markets close. And who knows what the weekend will bring, but you don't have to be dialed into every minute. You don't have to be paying attention to everything. It's okay to turn the charts off, turn the news off, and just enjoy your weekend. We'll get you caught back up on Monday morning or anything you missed. So go touch some grass, enjoy your weekend, and be back Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Or make sure you'll check that newsletter, give that thing an open if you're looking for something to read over the weekend. But in all seriousness, have a great weekend. Appreciate everyone who added value to the conversation today, and I truly did enjoy it. And we'll continue the deep philosophical conversations come Monday here on Coffee. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.